Do you really think you could stay calm crossing any bridge? Don't be so sure. If you've never crossed a swaying suspension bridge deep in the forest, where only a few narrow wooden planks remain beneath your feet, never felt your heart race as you carefully place each step across widely spaced boards, or never walked onto a bridge woven entirely from grass, hanging high above a canyon. Across the world, there are places built to test even the strongest nerves. Every step becomes a negotiation between human determination and the raw power of nature. This is a journey across the world's most dangerous bridges, where not everyone has the courage to make it to the other side. A transparent strip of glass stretches for more than 430 meters between two cliffs. The entire bridge hangs nearly 300 meters above the canyon floor. When it opened in 2016, Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge held the world record as the longest and highest glass-bottom bridge. The bridge deck is about 6 meters wide, yet the transparent glass makes the walkway feel much narrower. Every step is taken above open space. The two ends of the bridge slowly fade farther away as you move toward the center. The structure is built with multiple layers of tempered glass. It was engineered to carry heavy loads and can accommodate around 800 visitors at the same time. But none of those facts make the fear disappear. Your eyes still see the abyss below. Your body still reacts as if you are walking on air. For anyone afraid of heights, the more than 400 meters ahead can feel far longer than the actual distance. Nearly 2,740 meters above sea level. That is where Ponte Cristallo spans a mountain gap in Italy's Dolomites. The rock surrounding the bridge was formed more than 200 million years ago. Over time, ice, wind, and water carved away the landscape, creating deep chasms that split the mountain range apart. Ponte Cristallo bridges one of those gaps. The walkway is only about 1 meter wide. Steel cables run along both sides. Every step must be carefully controlled to maintain your balance on the narrow path suspended above open space. To cross, you must wear a safety harness, a helmet, and clip your carabiners onto the steel lifeline running the length of the bridge. That connection stays with you until you reach the other side. This is not a place where you can simply hurry across. Every meter demands your complete attention. Lose your balance for even a moment, and the feeling of safety disappears instantly. Connecting Guizhou and Yunnan, Duge Bridge carries traffic across the Beipan Canyon at a height of nearly 565 meters. The distance from the bridge deck to the valley floor is roughly equal to a building nearly 200 stories tall. That height alone makes it one of the highest bridges ever built. Below lie sheer cliffs and a deeply fractured landscape. The terrain is so steep that building a conventional road through the canyon was almost impossible. The bridge's main span measures about 720 meters. The entire structure is supported by 2 towers and a cable system stretched across the canyon, without a single pier rising from the valley floor. At many times of the day, clouds fill the entire canyon. Only the tops of the towers and parts of the bridge deck remain visible above the sea of clouds, making the whole structure appear to float in the sky. Its immense scale has turned Duge Bridge into one of the most visually intimidating engineering feats in the world. The Hunza River rushes far below. Above it hangs the Hussaini hanging bridge, where the walkway is made of wooden planks spaced at uneven intervals. The bridge deck is not fully covered. Wide gaps between the planks let you look straight down at the river beneath. To reach the other side, you must step carefully from one plank to the next, while keeping both hands firmly on the steel cables. Every step sends the bridge swaying. Wind sweeping through the valley pulls at the cables, causing the entire bridge to move from side to side. The feeling of instability never goes away. Local residents still use the bridge every day, but for many visitors, the challenge begins with the very first step. Many of the old planks have been replaced over the years, yet the uneven spacing between them remains unchanged. That is why Hussaini Hanging Bridge is often listed among the world's most terrifying pedestrian bridges. Amid the Swiss Alps, Trift Bridge appears like a thin thread stretched across the valley. The 2 mountainsides are the bridge's only anchor points. Everything else hangs suspended in open space. The walkway is less than 1 meter wide. Wooden planks form a narrow path stretching across the span. On either side, there is only steel mesh and the supporting cables. The middle of the bridge drops into a noticeable curve. Standing on the bridge, you look directly down at the glacial lake and the surrounding cliffs. There is no solid ground beneath your feet, only water, rock, and the deep void extending the entire length of the bridge. The bridge is about 170 meters long. It was built after the Trift Glacier retreated, causing the natural ice crossing that once connected the 2 mountainsides to disappear. Since then, the bridge has become the only pedestrian route across the valley. Carrick-a-Rede rope bridge was never built for tourists. Hundreds of years ago, it was the only way for salmon fishermen to reach a small rocky island offshore from the mainland. The crossing is only about 20 meters long, but below lies the open sea. Atlantic waves crash against the base of the cliffs about 30 meters beneath the bridge. The walkway is made of narrow wooden planks joined together. Rope netting lines both sides from one end to the other. The entire bridge hangs suspended above the water. With every step, the bridge sways gently beneath your feet. Every vehicle that crosses transfers its entire load through the 5 concrete arches below, a structure designed to hang over open space. More than 3,000 meters above sea level in the Alps, the Titlis cliff walk spans the gap between 2 snow-covered rock faces. The elevation alone makes the surrounding landscape feel completely different from that of an ordinary bridge. The bridge stretches for about 100 meters, but is only around 1 meter wide. Steel mesh panels form a narrow walkway. Below is not solid ground, only cliffs, snow, and mountainsides dropping straight into the valley. The Titlis cliff walk was engineered to withstand the harsh conditions of the high Alps. Snow, ice, and powerful winds are challenges it faces almost every winter. Even on a clear day, the open space beneath your feet draws your attention more than the bridge itself. More than 1,250 wooden planks form the deck of the Royal Gorge Bridge in Colorado, United States. Two massive steel cables curve gracefully between the bridge towers. From them, hundreds of vertical suspenders drop down to support the entire bridge across a span of nearly 384 meters. From a distance, the structure looks like a thin line stretched across Royal Gorge. Far below, the Arkansas River flows about 291 meters beneath your feet. The bridge deck is much wider than that of most pedestrian suspension bridges. Visitors and service vehicles can travel across the same span. Yet the enormous void of the canyon is always visible just beyond the railing. Completed in 1929, the Royal Gorge Bridge held the title of the world's highest suspension bridge for many decades. Its structure has since been reinforced to withstand winds of up to about 201 kilometers per hour. High on the summit of Gunung Mat Cincang in Malaysia, the Langkawi Sky Bridge curves through open air. Unlike most suspension bridges, it does not follow a straight line. The bridge is about 125 meters long. Its entire span is supported by a single inclined steel pylon, rising more than 80 meters high. A network of cables extends in multiple directions to hold up the structure. There are no support columns beneath the bridge. The walkway widens into a series of gentle curves. At several points, triangular viewing platforms project outward from the bridge. Standing there, you can look straight down at the forest-covered cliffs without any part of the bridge blocking the view. Glass panels are also built into sections of the walkway. The moment you step onto one, the open space beneath your feet becomes impossible to ignore. Those are often the spots where visitors pause the longest before continuing across the bridge. At Dolní Morava in the Czech Republic, Sky Bridge 721 stretches from one mountainside to the other. Opened in 2022, the bridge is 721 meters long, the equivalent of more than 7 soccer fields placed end to end. It is recognized as one of the longest pedestrian suspension bridges in the world. The entire span is supported by a system of steel cables stretched across the valley from the entrance the far end appears as little more than a thin line suspended between the forested mountains. The deck is made of steel grating. Protective mesh runs along both sides for the entire length of the bridge. Below lies a broad valley surrounded by forest-covered slopes. The sensation of the structure moving beneath your feet continues for hundreds of meters instead of lasting only a few steps. The bridge stands at an elevation of more than 1,100 meters above sea level. Crossing all 721 meters is more than a walk from one mountain to another. It is a journey through open space with almost nowhere to pause. Spanning Lake Nakami between Shimane and Tottori prefectures in Japan, Eshima Ohashi Bridge often looks like an almost vertical climb. Yet from a different angle, the entire bridge returns to the appearance of an ordinary concrete roadway. This illusion is created by the bridge's steep approach, combined with the effect of a long telephoto lens. The crest is visually compressed, making both slopes appear far steeper than they really are. The bridge is about 1.7 kilometers long. Its entire structure is supported by a series of concrete piers. It does not rely on suspension cables or a cable-stayed system like many other bridges. A maximum gradient is about 6.1% on one side and 5.1% on the other. Those slopes were designed to provide enough clearance for ships to pass underneath without the need for a movable bridge. That is why the center of the bridge rises so much higher than both ends, creating the famous profile of Eshima Ohashi today. Baluarte Bridge spans a deep canyon in western Mexico. The bridge deck stands more than 400 meters above the valley floor. When it opened in 2012, it held the world record as the highest cable-stayed bridge. The entire bridge stretches for more than 1 kilometer. 2 towers, each rising over 160 meters, support a network of steel cables extending down to the roadway. Rather than being completely rigid, the structure is designed to move within safe limits under the forces of wind, temperature changes, and traffic loads. That movement is part of the engineering itself. It helps distribute stress throughout the bridge, instead of concentrating it in one fixed location. For anyone crossing it, however, the feeling is very different. Below lies an immense void. Beneath your wheels is a structure that can still move. That alone is enough to make the journey far more unsettling. The cliff at Mok Chau suddenly comes to an end, but the walkway does not. Instead, Bach Long Glass Bridge extends straight into open space on a strip of transparent glass. The first section follows the cliff face. Just a few dozen meters later, the walkway separates completely from the rock. The remaining span is suspended across the valley by a system of steel cables. There is no cliff running alongside it anymore. The deck is made from multiple panels of ultra-tempered glass. The joints between them are barely visible. Light passes through almost the entire surface. Forest, cliffs, and the valley floor appear directly beneath your feet. The entire structure stretches for more than 630 meters. The cliffside walkway and the suspension bridge form one continuous route. The terrain changes constantly, and so does the view. That is why the experience of crossing Bach Long Glass Bridge never feels the same from beginning to end. Akashi Kaikyō Bridge stands in Hyogo Prefecture, Japan. It stretches across a broad strait, where a massive suspension bridge stands independently without support from nearby land. While the bridge was still under construction, the Great Kobe earthquake struck the region in 1995. The two towers remained standing, but the ground beneath them shifted, increasing the distance between the towers by nearly 1 meter. Rather than forcing the bridge back to its original design, engineers adapted the entire structure to its new alignment. As a result, the completed main span measures 1,991 meters. When it opened in 1998, it became the suspension bridge with the longest main span in the world. Today, Akashi Kaikyō Bridge is engineered to withstand major earthquakes, winds of up to about 286 kilometers per hour, and the powerful tidal currents below. Its main cables contain tens of thousands of high-strength steel wires twisted together, providing the strength and durability of the entire structure. Hidden in the mountains of Shizuoka Prefecture, Japan, Musou Tsuribashi stretches across a narrow gorge. From a distance, the entire suspension bridge hangs in a pronounced curve between the two mountain sides. The walkway is only about half a meter wide. Narrow wooden planks form a slim path along the steel frame. On either side, there are only steel cables to hold on to. Looking ahead, the bridge dips noticeably in the middle, making the crossing appear much longer than it really is. The steel frame, suspension cables, and wooden planks are almost completely exposed above the forest. There are no solid barriers enclosing the bridge, because the walkway is so narrow and sways with every movement. People usually leave plenty of space between one another instead of crossing in a line. Only after the person ahead has moved well away does the next person step onto the bridge. Every year, this bridge disappears. A few months later, it returns in exactly the same place. The Kampong Cham Bamboo Bridge in Cambodia was never built to last permanently. It is assembled and dismantled in rhythm with the rising and falling waters of the Mekong River. The bridge stretches for nearly 1 kilometer. Its deck is built from tens of thousands of bamboo poles. Support posts are driven directly into the riverbed, linking the mainland with Koh Pin Island throughout the dry season. Motorcycles, bicycles, and pedestrians cross the bamboo bridge every day. Before the rainy season arrives, the entire structure is dismantled by hand to avoid the floodwaters. When the river level drops again, a new bridge is rebuilt almost from scratch. This cycle repeats year after year, making the Kampong Cham Bamboo Bridge one of the very few seasonal bridges still in existence anywhere in the world. Not a single piece of steel is used in Peru's Q'eswachaka Bridge. The entire structure is woven from ichu grass that grows in the Andes. The handrails, the deck, and even the main load-bearing cables are all made from this natural fiber. Every year, the old bridge is completely cut down. 4 local communities come together to braid thousands of strands of grass into massive ropes. A new bridge is then built in exactly the same place. This tradition has continued for centuries. The bridge is about 28 meters long and around 1.2 meters wide. The deck is woven from tightly braided bundles of grass. Every step causes the bridge to dip and spring back. The movement travels from one end of the bridge to the other instead of staying in a single spot. Below, the Apurimac River flows through a deep canyon. Nearly everyone crossing keeps a hand on the braided grass handrail for balance. The swaying is not a sign of deterioration. It is simply the natural behavior of a bridge made entirely from woven plant fibers. Many people stop after only a few steps. Some grip the handrail tightly, others have to sit down before continuing. Those are common reactions on the Tianmen mountain glass skywalk in China. The walkway does not span a valley. It is attached directly to the cliffs of Tianmen Mountain. A sheer rock wall rises on one side. The other opens directly into empty space. The entire floor is made of transparent glass. The cliff face and the valley floor remain clearly visible beneath your feet. The feeling of standing on solid ground almost disappears, even though the steel frame is firmly anchored into the mountainside. Before stepping onto the Skywalk, every visitor must wear fabric shoe covers to protect the glass surface. The walkway extends about 60 meters from the cliff, with a drop of nearly 300 meters below. That constant view of empty space beneath your feet makes it difficult for many people to walk normally. A gap appears between every step. Each wooden plank is only wide enough for a single foot. Step off one plank, and you immediately have to cross another open space before reaching the next. The Tibetan Bridge on the Via Ferrata Key 5 route in Callosa de Segura, Spain, stretches for nearly 100 meters between two cliffs. The entire crossing consists of a single steel cable beneath your feet, suspended wooden planks, and 3 overhead cables for balance and attaching safety gear. There is no continuous deck, no rigid handrail. Each wooden plank moves almost independently. As your weight shifts onto one, both the plank and the supporting cable respond. The movement then travels through the sections beside it. Climbers cannot walk with a normal stride. Every step must land squarely on the center of a plank before the carabiners are clipped to the next anchor point. Look down through the gaps, and the entire gorge opens beneath your feet. It is this fragmented design that makes the bridge one of the most demanding parts of the K5 route. A giant spiral rises in the middle of the city. Traffic does not drive straight onto the bridge. Instead, vehicles loop around multiple turns before gaining enough height to cross the river. The approach alone is enough to identify Shanghai's Nanpu Bridge. The spiral ramp measures nearly 400 meters in diameter. Multiple traffic lanes wrap around one another on different levels. The entire structure resembles a giant spring. This design allows vehicles to reach the bridge deck at a suitable gradient while solving the problem of limited space in a densely built urban area. Leaving the spiral, traffic merges onto the cable-stayed bridge, which spans about 846 meters across the Huangpu River. 2 bridge towers rise nearly 150 meters above the water. Dozens of steel cables fan out to support the bridge deck. Nanpu Bridge was completed in 1991. It was Shanghai's first cable-stayed bridge. Even today, its most recognizable feature remains the spiral approach. Very few bridges in the world send traffic through so many consecutive loops before crossing a river. Capilano Suspension Bridge in Canada is a pedestrian suspension bridge spanning a forested canyon. It has also become one of the region's best-known engineering landmarks. The bridge is about 140 meters long. Its deck hangs nearly 70 meters above the river below. It was first built in the late 19th century using hemp ropes and wooden planks. As visitor numbers grew, the bridge was later reinforced with steel cables to support much heavier use. What makes a pedestrian bridge attract millions of visitors every year, even though it serves no essential transportation purpose? The answer lies in its remarkable height. Every step creates a gentle movement beneath your feet. Modern steel cables keep the entire structure stable. The thrill remains, but the bridge is engineered to meet strict safety standards. From a simple handmade crossing, it has evolved into a professionally managed attraction while preserving the spirit of adventure in the wilderness. The sea is not a place where roads usually stretch for dozens of kilometers. Yet across Shenzhen Bay, the roadway keeps extending farther from the shore until it almost disappears into the horizon. This is China's Shenzhen Bay Bridge. The entire crossing spans open water, where crosswinds and tropical storms are common. There are no mountains or large structures nearby to shield it from the wind. The bridge must face offshore weather conditions directly. The crossing combines long bridge spans with reclaimed roadway sections. Its total length exceeds 11 kilometers. Below, ships move continuously through busy shipping channels. Above, traffic flows almost non-stop between Shenzhen and Hong Kong. Seawater, salt spray, and strong winds create a harsh environment for every steel and concrete component. Keeping the bridge in service depends not only on its original engineering, but also on continuous inspection and maintenance to ensure safe operation throughout the year. Rocky Creek Bridge appears just as California's Highway 1 reaches the edge of the Pacific Ocean. The highway leaves the mountainside and crosses the coastal ravine on a massive concrete arch. The bridge was completed in 1932. It stretches for nearly 152 meters, with a main arch spanning about 73 meters. A row of slender concrete columns rises from the arch to support the roadway above. Below, Rocky Creek flows through the canyon before emptying into the Pacific. From the bridge deck, it is easy to miss the fact that the highway is crossing a deep gap between the coastal cliffs. In 2024, a major landslide struck Highway 1 near the bridge, forcing the road to close for several months while repairs were carried out. Rocky Creek Bridge remained unharmed, but traffic through the area was almost completely cut off. This is one of the sections of Highway 1 most frequently affected by coastal landslides. Ocean winds, salt spray, and ongoing seismic activity continue to place constant pressure on the surrounding landscape. The far end of the bridge is always out of sight. Every time you round one curve, another section appears ahead. On Ruyi Glass Bridge in Zhejiang Province, China, you almost never see the entire crossing at once. 3 connected spans twist between 2 cliffs. One curve flows into the next. The entire structure resembles a ribbon floating through open space. From many angles, the bridge seems to have no clear beginning or end. Transparent glass panels are built into sections of the deck. With every change in direction, the drop below appears from a different angle. Before your eyes can adjust to one view, another open space suddenly unfolds ahead. The design was inspired by the traditional Chinese Ruyi scepter, but it is the continuous curves that change the rhythm of every step. Not because the bridge sways, but because it is almost impossible to predict how the space will open up around the next bend. The first thing you notice is not the roadway. It is a gigantic steel arch towering over Sydney Harbour. From a distance, the entire structure looks like an enormous steel frame stretched across the water. Sydney Harbour Bridge was completed in 1932. More than 53,000 tons of steel were assembled into a main arch spanning over 500 meters. The top of the arch rises about 134 meters above the water. Thousands of steel members interlock to form the massive framework that defines the bridge. Beneath the arch are 8 traffic lanes, 2 railway lines, a pedestrian walkway, and a cycle path, all sharing the same structure. Every day, hundreds of thousands of vehicles cross the bridge, while ships continue to pass below. Some people do not stop at the roadway. They continue climbing to the top of the arch on the bridge climb route. The entire ascent takes place on open steel steps while participants remain clipped to safety lines. More than 130 meters above the harbor, the wind becomes impossible to ignore with every step. The greatest challenge here is not on the bridge, it is beneath the water. The Padma River constantly changes course, carries away sediment, and reshapes its riverbed with the changing seasons. Padma Bridge was built across these shifting waters in Bangladesh. The bridge stretches for more than 6.1 kilometers. It has two levels, one above the other. The upper deck carries road traffic, while the lower deck is designed for railway trains. Dozens of bridge piers stand in the fast-moving river throughout the year. To keep the entire structure stable, many foundation piles were driven more than 120 meters into the riverbed. They are among the deepest bridge foundations ever used on a major crossing during the monsoon season. The volume of water in the Padma River rises rapidly. The current, sediment movement, and riverbed erosion are continuously monitored throughout the bridge's operation. The structure was designed not only to carry heavy traffic, but also to adapt to one of the most unpredictable rivers in the region. A suspension bridge once stood at this location, but rock falls from the mountainside damaged the structure, forcing hikers on the Europa Weg Trail to take a long detour across dangerous terrain. The Charles Quoonin Suspension Bridge opened in 2017, allowing pedestrians to cross directly over the rockfall zone. The bridge stretches 494 meters across the Grabengufer Gorge near Randa, Switzerland. The walkway is about 65 centimeters wide. Its deck is made of steel grating, leaving rocks, trees, and an 85-meter drop clearly visible beneath your feet. The narrow width means most people cross in single file. When someone approaches from the opposite direction, both walkers must slow down and move carefully to the side. This process repeats throughout the crossing, which typically takes nearly 10 minutes. Although the bridge appears slender and easy to sway, it is equipped with a dedicated vibration damping system that controls movement caused by mountain winds and footsteps. Even so, the bridge is open only during the warmer months. It closes in winter, and visitors are advised not to cross during thunderstorms because of the risk of lightning. There is not just one bridge. The Sevilla twin-hanging bridge on Bohol Island in the Philippines consists of two parallel suspension bridges crossing the Sipatan River. One bridge is used for people walking in one direction. The other is used for those coming back. Each bridge is about 40 meters long. The walkway is built from bamboo and wooden slats tied directly to steel suspension cables. Simple rope netting serves as the handrails on both sides. The entire structure hangs about 20 meters above the river. The two bridges are separated by only a few meters. When many people are crossing, each bridge moves independently. From one bridge, you can clearly see the other, swaying with every step of the people walking across it. Many of the bamboo sections still retain their natural surface. The joints, small cracks, and uneven colors remain visible. As a result, the entire walkway preserves the original character of materials gathered directly from the local area. In the middle of moving traffic, the roadway suddenly splits in two. The bridge decks slowly rise, opening a wide passage across the River Thames for large ships. This scene still takes place regularly at Tower Bridge in London, United Kingdom. Two Gothic-style stone towers, each rising nearly 65 meters, stand at either end of the main span. Each bascule weighs about 1,100 tons. It takes only about 1 minute for both sections to lift to nearly 86 degrees. Above them, two pedestrian walkways continue to connect the towers even after the bridge has fully opened below. From there, the River Thames and the Tower of London are spread out in full view. Tower Bridge was completed in 1894. Today, the lifting system is powered by electricity and hydraulics, but it still operates on the same basic engineering principle. Every year, the bridge opens hundreds of times to let ships pass, while road traffic pauses for only a few minutes before quickly resuming. From behind the steering wheel, it feels like an ordinary straight road. There are no sharp bends, no steep climbs. Only when you look out the window do you realize the entire roadway is suspended above one of the deepest canyons in China. Huajiang Canyon Bridge is located in Guizhou Province. Its deck stands about 625 meters above the canyon floor. Once completed, it will surpass Duge Bridge to become the highest bridge in the world. Two bridge towers rise from opposite sides of the canyon. Between them, a main span of more than 1,400 meters is supported by a massive system of steel cables, From a distance, the bridge deck appears as little more than a thin line crossing an immense void. Before the bridge, crossing Huajiang Canyon meant following winding mountain roads that took a great deal of time. Once the bridge enters service, the same journey will take only a few minutes. A bridge can connect even the greatest distances, but building one in the world's most unforgiving places has always required people to push beyond limits that many structures could never overcome. That is exactly what gave rise to some of the most dangerous bridges on Earth. Of all the bridges you've seen today, which one would you never want to set foot on? Or is there one you would challenge yourself to cross just once? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to join us on more incredible journeys ahead.